caused it. I think energy caused it, number one, what they did with energy, but I think that the spending was a big factor too. I will settle the war in Ukraine before I even take office. I'll settle it as president-elect. I met with President Zelensky the other day. I know President Putin very well. I'll get it settled. I will end the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III, something nobody else can say. And we will rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And we will keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Right now, it's under threat. It's under siege. It's horrible what's going on. If we lose the world's reserve currency, that's like losing a war, isn't it? That would be like losing a war, maybe worse in many ways. Then we would be a third world
Maybe
nation.
worse.
This is how we will end the era of inflation, mayhem, and misery under Kamala and Joe Biden, Crooked Joe, and unleash safety, prosperity, and peace for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. It's so important. We're going to make this country so good, and we're going to do it fast. The hardest thing we have to do is solve the crime problem. The crime problem is out of control. It was out of control before the migrant situation, but now it's crazy.
I mean,
okay,
give some propositions on how this could be done, and you might convince me.
We will deliver low energy costs, low interest rates.
I feel like the people that you need to convince are all around my age anyway, so I would love some points of contention on which to go off of. I'm not some 45-year-old redneck that just doesn't want a half black, half Indian woman in office, you know?
To 10%, but it's really much higher because at 10% you can't get any money, so it's obviously not 10%. They say 10%. They said you don't get the money, so you have to go higher. We will stop the invasion, end migrant crime, support our great police, strengthen our military, build a missile defense shield, which we're entitled to. Keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day we will be filled with opportunity and hope. We don't have opportunity. We don't have hope anymore in this country. There's no hope. Your kids, you have beautiful kids, and they don't even know what to do. There's no hope. We're gonna bring back spirit. Spirit is a word, but we're gonna bring back spirit for our country again, and they're gonna have lots of hope, and they're gonna have that American.
You can't.
But for that to happen,
it's like banning books. You can't ban certain books.
Kamala Harris. You can't call her Harris. Nobody knows.
You just can't erase. Oh yeah.
I say Harris has been a horrible.
Yes, we're going to ban knowledge. Like what? That sounds so dumb.
Name just doesn't care. So we call her Kamala, but we'll defeat her, and we must stop her country-destroying liberal agenda once and for all. She's a radical left lunatic. Remember, early mail-in voting is underway, so vote, vote, vote. You gotta get going, and we want to make this election. You know the expression: too big to rig. Too big to rig. Because at a certain size,
you're already putting doubt in the mind of the people that this might even be rigged.
Because they have no shame. On November 5th, we will save our economy. We'll save our country. It will go down as the most important day in the history of our country. We will rescue our middle class.
How long is this?
We will reclaim our sovereignty and restore our borders. And we will put America first. We will put it first always. We will make America powerful again.
Is there a sub button?
Wealthy again.
Okay, but
healthy again. Strong again. Proud again. Safe again.
Didn't mean to follow.
Free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, Wisconsin. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so that happened. Oh God, dude. He's so radical. He's radicalizing literally every single part of his speech with euphemisms that have no points to back them up. When he does have points that back things up, they don't tend to come to a place of coercion. It'll just be like a branch off very randomly. He'll be like 75% through a story, and then bam, ooh yeah. And by the way, we have this really highly respected Congress elect or whatever the fuck he said. Here with us today, and then damn, branch off to that, and then boom, Crooked Joe, and then back to this, and it's just like, can you go coherently from step to step and also maybe show a little bit of respect to your fellow Americans. It doesn't matter if she's running against you and she's your political opponent. If this were considered sportsmanship, it would be considered piss poor sportsmanship. But it's not considered. It's not sportsmanship. You're talking about the fate of the fucking country, and yet you're sitting here arguing. Oh, it's just using tactics that like second graders would use. Well, you know what? You should like me more because this other person is just bad. How about instead of doing that, you actually give us fucking evidence as to why we should vote for you, and then maybe from there, if it's compelling, people can make their choices based on that. I don't understand the level of disrespect that goes on back and forth, and he's not the only one. It's just he's the one that we just watched, right? He's not the only one that does this. Kamala? My girlfriend likes to make apparently there's a joke on TikTok where they call her Campbell Toe Harris, which is kind of funny. But you just, oh my god, dude, this shit makes me feel like I'm having an aneurysm to think about. I don't do politics that often, but I feel like it's kind of important considering, what did he say, 35 days away is the election. Both of your goals should be to uplift the people as much as possible. And true opponents that are masters of their craft always respect their opposition. How are you going to sit there and dig into someone without any sort of respect, and then expect the people who are listening to you just dig at someone else respect you? Same goes for both parties, but like I said, we're talking about Trump right now. Like, I have a hard time respecting anything he's saying because it's intended to rile and radicalize whoever he is speaking to. It's just like you'll see him go point to point, and he gets slightly more radical, slightly more radical. Boom, and this is why Wisconsin needs to vote for me type thing, and then you hear everybody cheer, and it's just like he's been building up this radicalization of his speech for the last 25 minutes, and then now, boom, he hits you with the, okay, so you're gonna vote for me now, right? Probably. If people actually do get radicalized off the things he's saying, which mob mentality is a real thing, and when you're sitting in a group of people and everyone else is cheering, you feel more inclined to cheer. That's just a psychological phenomenon that happens within every human. Take a look at like young people in gangs, for example, as a good psychological equal, I guess, or example. That's the word I'm looking for, as to something like this occurring. So it's just like it's easier for me to sit back here and be unbiased. I am biased. I'm biased towards the American individual, though. I am not biased towards either candidate. I don't view myself as Republican, nor do I view myself as Democrat. I view myself as a fucking American citizen, and I want the best for myself, but I also want the best for my fellow Americans, and that's always been that way. So it's just like, I didn't vote in 2020. I should have, but I didn't. I don't know if there's a person I would vote for now. It's just like, who do I want at the head of my table talking for me? Neither. Neither of them. Neither of them are competent. Competent in the way that makes our country look level-headed and civilized and grants it the title of the greatest nation on earth. I wouldn't follow any either of them into battle. Oh, for anything. They don't make me feel patriotic. They do not instill any wisdom in me. They don't fucking provide for the people. They say they do, but they don't. All he did at the beginning of this speech was talk about how he was going to, or that Kamala didn't do this, didn't do that, didn't do this, didn't do that. First off, she's only vice president this time. Second, neither did you during your term. We had the greatest this, we had the greatest that. Okay, I could say I have the world's largest penis, but if I don't show you any fucking evidence, how the fuck are you going to believe me? No, yeah, it's 14 and a half inches. Like, you have no way to prove me wrong unless I pull my pants down, which obviously that's a rudimentary example. But you get my point. Like, there needs to be evidence, and there never is. And it's just like, maybe it's because whatever the fuck you're talking about is is complicated enough to the point that you don't think the average American is going to be able to understand it. But at that point, it shouldn't be a talking point in your speech anyways. It shouldn't. Like, why? Why would you make that a point of contention if you can't even break it down into bite-sized information that the average American can understand? It's not a good talking point. There is literally nothing that he said during this entire hour that made me feel any sort of way except for the cracking down on crime. And crime's not even a major issue where I live. I just know it's a major issue for other Americans. And like I said, we are two wings of the same plane. The same plane. And it seems like that reality often eludes people, especially politicians. I don't know. It's funny, he said that Kamala has something called Trump derangement syndrome. It's like politicians, any of their quote unquote opposition, they just have like political derangement syndrome. Immediately, the person opposite of them on the podium is their enemy, like their actual enemy. Like they need to go destroy them for some reason. It's just like I don't know, man. If I don't sit here and play a high level game of StarCraft and then I get beat by this guy and then I just fucking hate the individual. What good does that do for me? Right? Like we are both trying to get better at this thing. Therefore, like it is very telling of one's character when they don't respect their opponents. And it seems like there's been a lack of respect for political opposition within our government for the last 8 years, 9 years. I don't remember hearing this much he said, she said, you did, she did, we did, they're bad, he's bad, she's bad in the Obama election. And I was getting my information from my father back then, and even then he had a political opinion one way or the other, but yet it was always civil, right? Then you fast forward to 2016, I'm in fucking high school at this time, and already it sounds like they're arguing like children, talking about her leaked emails and social media becoming a thing and all of that. And then 2020 was just a fucking shit show. And then now it's 2024. It's 4 years later. The world went into lockdown, came back out, is in the midst of recovering. People are trying to start wars over in the Middle East. We have a migrant problem. There are bigger issues than, oh my God, she's bad. Oh my God, he's bad. How about, hey, both sides of the plane have maintenance issues, and we put in maintenance requests from the other side, and they haven't done their part. How about instead of that, you just fucking work on it together? We the people, man. That's the first fucking sentence of the Constitution. We the people. We, not you and I. We, united. It's not the fucking divided states of America. Or am I just misunderstanding the whole concept of which this nation was built upon? Like, I feel like our forefathers would be fucking disgraced if they watched this shit. It's actually just pathetic. Like, the political state of the country is just pathetic, man. It's so bad. I wish I could understand what the end goal was. Because, like I said earlier, only about half of able-bodied Americans voted in 2016. That was the election we looked at. The other half are still there. The other half, like, are people like myself who have an issue with the entire foundation of which the system is built upon right now. Can it change for the better? Absolutely. Will it? It's not looking like it, because obviously whatever the fuck that they're doing to radicalize their sides are working, but those other half of working class Americans, adults, those are the fucking fuselage, the middle of the plane. And watching these two wings fucking try to rip each other off while we're mid-air is concerning. That's all I have to say about that. We're gonna move on. Don't need to get my blood pressure up for no reason. Sheesh. Sheesh, man. That was something else. That was something else. Guess we'll go. Oops. Those interfaces.